Hello and welcome to the pain and pleasure of living a life on purpose. My name is Philippa Ross from philippaross.com, and my guest today is David de Warenne. And I can't remember if I pronounced that right, but I met David a couple of years ago. In fact, I did one of the shamanic workshops, and it was, for me, it was really enlightening because the shamanic drum really resonated with me and helped me find a depth to myself. Now, David himself has been through pain to get to where he is at the moment. He's suffering from a bit of overload in the head, aren't you, David? Because you've done a lot of NLP training in the last year. Would you like to
That's right. You know what? I had a next door neighbour many years ago, an elderly woman, and she used to, just share over the fence, there's no rest for the wicked. And I just giggled about that and I just went, oh gosh. But the journey has been fast and furious for me in the last several years. I'm always somebody who personally consciously chooses to refine myself, I suppose, so I can get into the best place that I can, not only for myself, but for others as well.
Wow.
So, yeah, huge learnings, NLP practitioner training, NLP Master Practitioner training, instructor and trainer training, all in the last 2 years. A diploma in and a diploma in clinical hypnotherapy as well.
Wow.
So my journey for me is, as you know, I've come up through shamanism for the last 20 or 25 years. It's a journey I absolutely love. Just the enchantment of it all. Organically, I am a spiritually minded person. I always have been, ever since I was a young boy in church and looking up at stained glass windows and just wondering, what's it all about?
Right.
So my journey has taken me through many modalities, or if you want to call them that, but when shamanism found me out, I thought, this really resonates with me.
So what is it about shamanism that resonated?
Just the connection with spirit, the connection with nature. Something moved in my heart when I really, I read the first blurb on the back of a shamanic book that I found up in a spiritual bookstore up in Auckland City. And I just went, this resonates with me. I don't know what it is, but there's something about this. So I was thirsty for it, and I just drank it in, went away and did the trainings, and I wanted to walk the talk. As soon as I saw that book and read it, I went, I'll be teaching this someday. But it took me about, 12, 15 years until I felt I was honouring the essence of what shamanism is. And of course, I also had to step out of my own limitations and comfort zone and
Bullshit.
and all of that stuff. So, still dusting myself off as we go. But I've been teaching that for 8 years now. And, as you shared, you've been a participant. But also for me, it's like just lately with the NLP and hypnotherapy, and then, which is all neuroscience, it's actually helped me understand my shamanism more. And it's like I'm having this divine marriage within myself with the left-hand logical neuroscience loving brain and the right-hand side of my being, which is my spiritual shamanic, side of me. And it's just like coming together like this at the moment with this a huge integration like never before experienced in my life. And behind what you class as all the pain and the and the the hard work that it takes to sculpt yourself,
But aren't you? The thing is, we are already born pure, and
that's right.
Actually, society's conditions, what I call it, they're all a load of balls anyway, that they dump on top of us. And so our journey is, we're absorbing all this stuff, and our journey is a journey of rediscovery.
That's right.
To find the essence, your work is about the essence and the connection between in life. So that's plant life, animal life, it's nature and ourselves, and finding our own true nature. So as you say, that integration, it's knowing the depth of yourself. And actually, because we're human, we are wanting to really understand the connection between A and B in order to serve in the best way that we can. So if I could take you back, what, in your journey to where you've been to, what, apart from the hard work you mentioned, because that is painful. I know I did 6 years in Open University, and it's like with children, and that was your brain ache, so I can empathize with where you are. What other incidences in your life have occurred that you, when you look back with hindsight, have really helped you get where you are today?
What's coming straight into mind at the moment is my past relationships.
Right.
With women. So it's like I became very consciously aware that every woman that I've had a relationship with has really served to help me along my way further. There's been an exchange, but what I've received is I must, to me it comes back, it's all around the heart. So it's bringing me back to myself all the time. I do have one of these spiritual outlooks, and maybe you share this, that, everybody is our mirror. So when I started to really understand that concept, 12 or so years ago, and testing it out and seeing basically who I was reflecting into my life in relationships.
Yeah.
The penny dropped one day, and I went, oh my gosh, this is a part of me that I'm seeing. And often, in relationships, we start seeing after a while the stuff that we don't want to see. And and the qualities of that other person, that, and the button pushing and things like that. And, and it's uncomfortable, emotionally uncomfortable as these experiences can be. They just served me so wonderfully that, I've just come so far. And honestly, I really have to honour each and every partner or attraction. Even some of those attractions never really became anything in a partnership or romantic anything. But looking back, I really have to honour each and every one, because they've just helped me along my journey so much. And I'm really happy to say that at this moment in life, and I'm feeling very empowered and together, that I've also attracted just recently a beautiful woman into my space, whom, of course, is my mirror at the moment. So
I think it's being able to walk alongside someone without any judgment. And, if you're having a shit day, that you can allow your partner allows you space to walk through what you are, rather than saying, what's your problem, and poking and prodding you and all the rest of it. And I think, maybe because you're roughly the same age as me, maybe part of that is a maturity thing, because the little things don't affect us in quite the same way. But I was talking to a gentleman, Tim Brister, who's just written a book called With Love. And his book is basically 365 lessons on love, which were channeled through him. And he comes from a corporate world, and it was so bully, pushing, being the man. And this is why I wanted to include men within my series, is because it's allowing that feminine side, the love, the working from the heart is so, so important, isn't it? Yeah, and that male and female energy.
Well, this is right. And as my own personal journey has unfolded, it's become very clear to me that this is what it's about, at a deep core level for me. It's about coming back to the heart, which is, of course, our center, and all the attributes or connections that people have associated with the heart, not only in the ancient of days through all the mystical teachings, from the masters, but also from what neuroscience is discovering today. And it's really exciting. So in saying that, it's clear for me to see that the journey is about embracing what has been dubbed the sacred masculine, and acknowledging the sacred feminine, not only within myself but out there in the world. So yeah, it's an exciting thing, and it's a humbling thing, and it's very powerful, and it's very beautiful, all wrapped up together.
So how hard have you found it as a man living in the world that has an expectation for you to be a certain macho image?
Mm-hmm.
You've obviously been connected to your spirituality for a while. How did that affect you in your own growth and integrating into life?
When I was probably 20, I had a big life shift. It was around 1920, not 1920.
You were really doing well for your age.
Well, the thing is, we know how to do time travel, so Back to the Future and all of those sort of things. When I was 19 or 20, I remember going through a shift, and I was brought up in that that mindset, with the sporting, with the sports and the macho men and the beer drinking and all of those, and all of that culture. But there was already something within me that was looking at that and going, this is just not right. It just doesn't resonate with me. And I don't know what it is, but I just slammed the door behind me and walked away, really, and never ever went back to that culture, other than a few beers. I just was not interested in the sporting culture that especially New Zealand has, but you can see it in other cultures, in the United States, America, the UK. I'm just not interested. I have plenty of opportunities to connect with my male friends and hang out without needing the boisterous sports addict persona to come through. So, over the years, it's been sometimes challenging when you find that the majority of people have been kind of, they sway that way. They sway to that way of thinking. And, I just don't see...
Did you ever feel isolated?
Yes, that's the word probably that wants to come through. I'm not anti anything, especially sports, because there's just so much spirituality when you can sculpt your body to become a professional, successful athlete. That's totally a spiritual journey. Overcoming your demons and aligning your mind with who you already are within yourself. And this is some of the work that I do now with the NLP and the coaching, is actually to help people discover their dreams. That they've actually lost their dreams over the years, and to help them to really realize their dreams, whether that's sporting. That's only a little tiny aspect of of our culture. Helping people rediscover their dreams and giving them the empowering tools and the skills to actually get there. That's what I'm all about. We've been talking about sport, but it's not a big thing in my choice of focus. I don't care whom I actually support. Could be a sports athlete, it could be an international sports public figure, or somebody like yourself who's an author, or somebody with body image issues. I don't care what it is. I just really feel like I want to support people, to offer them some treasure, to help them find the treasure that's already within themselves that they've of course forgotten about. I have a little mantra. Everybody has their little catchphrase for their businesses and these sort of things. And one of mine is, embrace your magnificence. But until you can really be reminded of it and shown it, there's nothing to embrace. But I truly believe that everybody has it within them, because I believe that we are truly magnificent spiritual beings. Remembering who we are.
Absolutely.
So as I remember who we are, I'm gonna tell you as well and everybody else. But the journey has been isolated. There has been many times that I've felt alone. But in knowing that we're never truly ever, we're never ever truly alone, that has helped me, get through some of those very dark days. I mean, I have had quite a dark past. I squashed myself so much. I allowed other people to do, but of course we always give our unconscious permission for it to happen.
What was around that time then? And you say you squashed yourself. What was affecting you? That was obviously a dissonance, because your energy was different from the energy around you, and that's basically what it is, isn't it? There's a dissonance. But in that, so how did you find yourself in that dark space?
Very much codependent on drugs and alcohol, to be honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of depression. So that's the pain, that you talk about in the essence of this interview. That's the pain part of it. There's a lot of codependency on substances, nothing extremely hardcore like we've got available these days, thank goodness. But it was enough to, keep me numbed out, emotionally numbed out, and happy enough that, what I was intuitively feeling from the word, I'm very, very powerfully empathic to, if we want to use that description, I'm very, very empathic to energy. So I feel it very quickly. And it wasn't, it's taken me many, many years to understand that I have that quality or that gift, which of course can be also a frigging curse. I just feel it so much. And I wasn't aware that I was feeling it. So
what was it? Like, because you've explained that you had a connection to shamanism, and you could feel the energetic resonance, but there was dissonance. And what was it that actually helped you turn things around? I mean, it probably wasn't an overnight thing, but what signs did you see? What gave you hope? And what were the things that you did for yourself?
Well, my Chinese horoscope, I'm a fire horse, and so we've got a lot of energy, and I suppose that energy, that it's a very powerful drive that I have.
Yeah.
And when I've set my mind to something, I'm stubborn, like that horse energy.
Yeah.
Like horse energy can be. So often I just get over it, over myself, pissed off with myself, had enough of myself as I was. So often that was a very powerful catalyst for me to go, right. Right. What is it that I can be doing now that can shift me along? And then I kind of drop into a tunnel vision, focus, and just get on with it.
Yeah,
and use that initial energy.
You sound a bit like me, because I'm an all or nothing kind of person.
I quote that to people sometimes, and I said, look, I don't even know if that really serves me all the time, but I'm totally an all or nothing person. And I suppose when I'm very much a visionary as well, so I can see miles ahead for my own life. I've always had the problem of how to get there, which has been a frustration for me. But
in the work it's actually, somebody was saying, it's learning to trust that process, and as human beings, get out of our head, connect to our heart, and allow it to happen without needing to know how.
That's right, and this is probably one of the greater understandings, and it's been a very powerful gift to me as well. Is all I have to choose, and I truly believe in personal choice in life. And I'm not waiting around for fairies or anything for me, because because I like the fairies. They just don't do anything for you until you ask, of course.
Yeah.
So the fairies and the unseen ones, or the forces of the universe. So I have dropped into a very clear choice, that I have choice. But in my choices, all I have to see is the outcome, where I want to get to. the clearer I see it, the more empowering it becomes. And I feel I don't need to know the hows, because the hows will present themselves along the way. Of course, in the past, the hows used to frustrate me, and I couldn't figure out how the heck this was ever going to happen. So, of course, I dumped that idea and went on with another one. And I don't know how that's going to happen. Dumped that one. It's
so
like
you get smacked in the face again, yeah?
Yeah, slapped in the face by myself, basically. But I dropped into a very, very strong place a number of years ago. And I went, you know what? I have to make a decision.
Yeah.
And the decision I made, it was an inner decision. The decision that I made about my map of the world is that I have conscious choice. And I don't care what other people have expressed their spiritual, their own maps of the world, you know. If it's somebody else's will, or then it will be done. And I'm saying, well, you know what? You're waiting on something outside of yourself to co-create. And for me, it's nothing outside of myself. Even those divine, higher being, source, whatever is within me. So I'll come back to myself and I will choose. Now, there could be an argument if I'm choosing from ego or choosing from source, but I'll be the decider of that along my own journey. But I have to make a choice, because waiting around serves nobody, especially myself.
And that's another purpose of this, is because if you're doing it on purpose, you're making it your business, whether you create a business from it or not. But it's your business to do what you want to do. And I think it comes with years. I can say that with wisdom now, because I've had my own cock-ups and dark areas, sort of thing. So we can talk, hindsight's fantastic, but I think the real thing that for me is to empower our youngsters, and they're a lot more switched on than we ever were, because we were caught up in tradition and all that conditioning, and they're just going, well, bollocks, because so much is available to us, we can create it ourselves. But again, there's that ego, that fitting in, and for me, our youngsters are quashed, just like you said at the beginning, that they have no value. We need to fit you in, herd you like sheep, and if you don't measure up, but it's having that confidence in what is right for you. That was another thing that my author friend Tim was saying, go with what's right for you, what feels energetically right. Like you were just saying, it doesn't matter. Everybody is different, allowing them to make their choice, to make their decision, and supporting them. And, when the shit hits the fan, it's standing alongside them rather than saying, I told you so, or whatever.
That's right. I mean, I think the younger people that are coming up are absolutely incredible. I mean, and you can see the movements, you can see the different paradigm happening now. And, I'd say honor ourselves, because we help pave the way. And, and of course, others have helped pave the way for us. Without getting too caught up into it, the system is nonsense.
So strong, I think, yeah.
And I've always been somebody who has been very independent, and has clashed with the system often over my days, which at some level actually helps create that energy or that drive, or it's a healthy drive to be at cause for my life, to create and make choices that are going to make choices that will create the effects that I want to receive in my life. So it's all about being at cause.
Sometimes it's kind of testing our resolve, because that inner strength that we get to keep going is driven by internal source that drives us, the essence of who we are. And you say stubborn. I can remember doing a course and somebody said to me that I was determined, and I remember my husband at the time said, I've got a different term for that. It's called bloody-minded.
That's right. Oh, we can soften the word up in front of other people if we need to, and paint the picture.
Energy in a word, you know, there's two different words there. They have the same meaning, but they can affect us in totally different ways. And it's I think it's a couple of people I've come across in the interviews. It's like, be careful with the words that we choose because of the impact that they have. And I think it's, again, when you're talking about a conscious choice, be consciously aware of the words you are choosing. Are they supporting someone, or are they, because we're feeding a lot of negative. In fact, Tim was saying the other day that walking down the street, listening to the way that parents talk to their children, there's all the don't do this, don't do that, do this, do the other, and it's the encouragement has gone.
That's right, and I'm big on words. It's not new to me, the power of words, because, you know, within my spirituality, it's been offered to me many times. But now understanding some aspects of neuroscience, you know, it's logical, black and white science understanding that the subconscious mind just does not do certain words. So, you know, the word try, the word don't, it amazes me that after how many thousands of years of parenting, parents will still tell their children, don't touch that. And the unconscious mind just does not register the word don't.
No.
So here we are, and Master Yoda, Star Wars, there is no try, there is do or do not. I love it. I absolutely love it. But how many times through our speaking, through our verbal day, will we drop these limiting words into our conversations? And with my understanding that the mind and the body are one system, our words are creating not only our experiences and our opportunities or lack of opportunities, because how the brain works with its filters and all of these things is very, very interesting. But we are literally creating our bodies.
Internal landscape.
We're creating our bodies instantaneously, simultaneously as we're creating our thoughts and we're speaking our words. So, I would totally agree with you. We need to zip it and attempt to, master the mind, which could be the greatest human learning.
Yeah, and it is all about the education, and actually it's a natural human instinct of curiosity, particularly so far as children are concerned. Leave them to outside and they will entertain themselves for hours looking at blades of grass, the worms, the leaves, the trees, the whatever, and the world of imagination. And we're so blooming practical as adults, sort of thing. If it starts to rain, I'll come in and put your coat on. But it doesn't register with them because they're so immersed in what they're doing. And we're killing curiosity.
That's right. And, within the shamanism, it was offered to me many years ago that when we're seeing those children outside playing and it's starting to get windy or even a little bit drizzly, and, the parent going, come in, you'll catch a cold. It's been shown to me that those children, when they're out there, are actually in alpha brainwave state. They don't feel the cold. No. It doesn't exist then. Okay, if it started to snow, sure.
After they turn blue, yeah.
That's right. But, we don't feel the cold. And I say we is because, being somebody who loves nature, I'm often out in it. And I've had my own experiences when I've allowed my mind to drift, really.
Yeah.
I just haven't noticed time, space, or the elements around me. And it's only when I drop back into that conscious, oh my gosh, that I'm feeling those, the elements. I'm feeling cold, tired, hungry, etc. And to take that metaphor, that story, and to place it into another context where, the way that we're using our mind in everyday life, in our business, in our relationships, especially for our health and well-being, and whatever other aspects of life there are. There's only about a handful when you break them all down, relationships, spirituality, health and well-being, business, finance, career, family, and those sort of things. If we could just stop for a moment and just become consciously aware of, how how we're operating, how our system is operating. You know, the thoughts that we're habitually thinking, the words that we're habitually thinking, the behavior that we're habitually behaving, and just seeing, you know, is this really serving me, or am I just running on default? Which, of course, unless we're making conscious choices for change in our life, we will be running on what's already default programming. Most of it, of course, as you would understand, we've inherited, and it's not even ours, but, you know.
I think, you know, it is about creating an awareness, and if we could stop and look at the patterns in our lives and reflect back with hindsight, because hindsight always informs us, take that time out from the busy world where we're constantly bombarded with so much more. Look at what's in front of us and see the amazing story, the magic in it that would help us. So with hindsight, if you were to meet your childhood self again, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
Do you know what? I like that question, because I've actually done a shamanic process, which I think has been mirrored within my, you know, the NLP, the neuro-linguistic programming, you know, a technique or two I've learned along the way in that, you know, the mind doesn't understand past, present, or future. The ego loves playing in that world, but, you know, the deeper mind, the soul, the heart connection doesn't get it. So we can go and speak to that aspect of ourselves right now. And as we change, and with the concept that we can actually change the past, because there is no past, there's only now. You know, the neural networks are running now. They're not running on something that happened yesterday or 30 years ago. They're running now and upgrading and updating and cutting and pasting and all of these things. I can actually speak to that lonely, squashed, afraid little boy and tell him, you know what, you're going to be all right. Continue to trust and believe that life has a purpose for you, and I've got a lot of energy, so I'm presuming that, you know, I've got big purpose. So
hold on to the belief and trust yourself.
I would tell that little boy just to hold on to the belief, trust himself, and it's going to be okay. Excuse me, I'm just my computer cord. I will just plug myself back in, which is a metaphor, I'll let you know.
Yes, plugging ourselves into the universe.
I'll plug myself back in, and now I'm all ready for action.
Well, on that note, now
inspired action.
Inspired action. Well, that's great, because it's a great way to actually leave it so that you're all fired up and plugged up and ready to go about your day. So thank you very much for your time, David. It'd be much appreciated.
Thank you, Philippa. I've really appreciated the opportunity to share, and maybe we can play again sometime.
I love that. Play again, definitely. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.